Hey, I'm Matt back with Jake here at Old Logging Sawmill. He's gonna give us a shop tour of where he makes his epoxy tables, and he's doing some absolutely beautiful work. So this is your main shop, right? This is the first enclosed shop you built.
Yep, this is where we started building and started teaching people through social media how to do these epoxy tables and epoxy trays.
And you're doing content on Instagram and YouTube.
I'm doing
right?
content Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the social media platforms.
I'll drop his links in the description and you'll see him pop up. How big is this shop?
This shop is 40 by 60 with 14-foot sidewalls. It's all insulated and enclosed. We have central heating and air. It's important to have central heating and air because we do epoxy work. So what you want to do is cool it down because epoxy generates its own heat so it doesn't crack on itself. So that's what the central heating and air is for.
So this is an epoxy pour you poured
yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yes.
So it's still wet.
We poured yesterday, this is still wet. This is the next process. So what you do is we create a mold. We make a mold out of sheathing tape and MDF. Once you make the mold, you set the slabs in here with clamps down the slabs and you pour all the epoxy in here. Now a big pour like this is when it's important to have central heating and air. You wanna make sure it's really cool.
Yeah.
We do the pour at night, and then that way around 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when the thermal reaction starts to hit, it's really cool outside. So we always pour at night whenever the thermogenic heats to help with the cooling of the epoxy. Now you got to think epoxy is plastic.
Right.
So what happens is once it gets dried at this point, it's just a big block of plastic at this point. So you need a big piece of equipment to surface and flatten all that. So you can either have a little router jig that you can do it with, or you can have what we use. It's called the Slab Miser made by Wood-Mizer. This is the Slab Miser, and what this does, it's a router sled on steroids, pretty much, and it flattens the top and bottom of these tables. So, for example, this guy right here is just freshly out of the mold. It needs to be surfaced, right? So once it's freshly out of the mold, we put it on this Slab Miser. We surface the top, we surface the bottom, we get it flat, to get this type of finish, this type of product right here. And now, after this process, once it's flat, we do the sanding process. In the sanding process, we would sand from 100 to 320.
Is it automatic, or do you operate it like back
You
and forth?
There is an automatic option on these that I still need to talk to people, see if it works good or not. But right now, stock, it comes with a little joystick, right? So it's like playing a video game.
Yeah.
You move it up and down, left and right. My 10-year-old son runs this thing.
Really?
You know, that's how easy it is with the Slab Miser. Now here's the next step process. This is after it's been flattened. So this is an L-shaped reception desk for a commercial building for their office. And at this process is a sanding process. After this, we sand from 100 to 320 before we do the oiling process. And that's gonna take your longest time is the sanding part of it.
I noticed you got a Rotex here.
Well, we got three different. We got Festool Rotex, and then we have two Festool finish sanders.
Oh, yeah. So we talked about it a little bit a while ago, but I noticed that you have a lot of Festool equipment. And
yes, sir.
You told me there's a couple of reasons why.
Festool for me has a 3-year warranty and is hands down best customer service. No questions asked whenever a tool breaks down and it goes in. And not only that, it does way quicker at finishing the jobs. When people come in and want to buy our tables, they want to see that you're running things, you know what you're doing, and it's all a perception thing as well. Festool is one of the best quality tools on the market, and they back their product up.
So coming into the shop, the first thing obviously I noticed was this absolutely beautiful and enormous conference table.
Yes, well actually this table is going in a plane hanger. They needed a small table for their living quarters, but this is the type of stuff that we do. Now this is on a massive scale. Basically all our tables are 6 to 8 feet long.
Like normal dining size.
Normal dining size tables is the majority of what we do. This is our second big corporate table, big conference room table, so we're starting to get into the corporate conference room type tables. And when you get into stuff like this, they're very expensive. So our tables are average about anywhere $6,000 to $10,000 a table is what we make on an average dining room table. Something like this, you're talking about a lot more because there's a lot more work that goes into something like this.
But what strikes me or what impresses me, I even told you earlier off camera, was how you scaled over the 4 years?
4 years now, yeah.
Just 4 years. That's a minimal amount of time to scale a business like this. And you've taken it from cutting green lumber and selling green lumber into making stuff like this. And you did that just by taking steps going forward.
Yes.
You know, you start out cutting that, but then you also stepped into starting making epoxy stuff. I don't know, what was your first project? What was your first epoxy project?
My first epoxy project was just a little charcuterie board, a little epoxy serving tray, and then I learned from that. Once you learn the small and you start getting bigger and bigger, and you scale it from there. When I first bought my sawmill, it was just so I could learn how to properly dry lumber and figure out how that works, and then make little side tables to get my profits down.
And you told me you started making farmhouse tables, similar to that.
Yep, I started making farmhouse tables, how all this started. Yeah, and then I got into the epoxy work. About 5 years ago, I saw a company, Black Forest Wood Company in Canada. They started doing these epoxy tables, and so I was watching YouTube and learned everything I could to make these. And so I've just learned through trial and error up to this point. And like you said, everything's in steps. You first start out with the sawmill, and then I learned how to sawmill green lumber, and I'd mill for other people. We offer services too, so we mill other people's logs. A lot of lumber can be sold as green lumber as well. Fence boards, trailer boards, horse barns, and then you just work your way up into building furniture.
A business.
A business.
So this giant table we were just talking about, you found something interesting when you were milling it.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
What we found in here was a bunch of lead bullets, and these bullets are different size bullets. We're thinking this was before the Civil War days. This was a 4-foot wide walnut, and that's sitting right in the middle. And we live in the Pea Ridge area, where if you guys, that's where the Civil War happened. There's a lot of artifacts and stuff that you find in these logs, and thankfully we were able to preserve them and add them with the table, and the customer was really happy about that.
That is sweet.
Now this is your average size tables. These two are going into a custom home that's being built, and we're going to deliver it in a couple of weeks. But this is going to be for their breakfast table, and this is their dining room table right here. Beautiful. But this is your average table, and we could do something like this. I think it took us 3 weeks to finish this one.
It's not bad.
Right here, from start to finish.
Yeah. You got a drum sander here?
Yep, this is a little 26-inch drum sander from Grizzly. And basically what we use this tool mainly for is for our charcuterie board and our coffee table type tops. And they help with making the sanding process go a little bit quicker.
A lot quicker. I talk about on the channel a lot of times that it's important to diversify your income stream, so you're not dependent on, if the river table fad goes away, you're not just dependent on that income stream. You've got other avenues. So epoxy is one of those. Tell us about this.
So we had our own line. I used to be a distributor to an epoxy company. And it's all about, when you start a business, you want to get your costs lower. Like, so for example, for me on these tables, I want to make it as cheap as possible to make these tables. Well, epoxy is expensive, so I decided to become a distributor for an epoxy line, and then I started networking and found the proper people and came up with our own white label. Now, we don't manufacture it. A company named Lab Surface manufactures it. We're just a white label to the company, and then we have distributors all across North America.
You white label it, but you believe in it because you're using it on your own stuff.
I'm using all my own stuff. It's a casting epoxy. Casting is perfect for our table builds and our charcuterie trays.
You don't have a whole lot of problem with like holes and cracks and
Nope, this thing, it's a VOC free, so it doesn't have any odor. It's very liquidy, so it controls all the air bubbles, where the air bubbles rises up to the top and it dissipates it before it dries. So you literally can get a bubble-free epoxy, clear as can be.
Clear, but you also have colors, right?
We also have colors,
let's
different pigments.
So you have the colors, and what I really like about this setup is you have made molds of the colors, so you know exactly what it's going to look like.
Little sample colors, little sample packets. We have all types of colors. We have 36 different mica colors, and we also have glow-in-the-dark and liquid colors.
Oh, really?
Glow-in-the-dark's really cool because especially if you have kids, you guys can make cool, fun projects with glow-in-the-dark pigment. Now, pigments are different. They come in different types of liquid and mica powder. Mica powder is what gives you your swirls. It gives you all the definition inside your epoxy on these tables. Liquid is a solid color, like that black table you saw earlier. That was a solid color, that was a liquid pigment. So there's difference, and I got YouTube videos and stuff out there that kind of shows you the different varieties and what you could do with these pigments.
So how much, say if I was making one of the charcuterie board, how much pigment would you use? Would you use a tiny amount.
We have 20-gram pigment bottles, and you could literally make probably 200-300 boards just out of that. Yes, you don't need very much pigment at all whatsoever when it comes to charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
Now, when you're making big tables, like big conference room tables, you know, a little bit different of a ball game. Now, how you could judge your color, a lot of people ask, how do you judge your colors on your epoxy? The lighter you do, the more translucent it'll be. The more you do, the more solid it'll be. And then what you want to do is you take a clear Dixie cup, before you make the pour, you put in your bucket and you put it up to the light, and that will be the color of your river. So that's a little pro tip for you on these epoxy pigments.
We call it on that chip.
Yes, power tip.
So you sell charcuterie board kits, and what does that mean?
Yeah, so basically, I take boards that will fit your mold, and we put them in boxes, and we put 8 pieces. So you can make 8 to 16 charcuterie boards per kit. It comes with 8 boards, and then you could buy the epoxy and pigment separate with these kits as well.
So I could take this kit, a mold, and some of your epoxy and just start a business right there making charcuterie.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
And I wouldn't really need any really power tools other than maybe a sander.
Yeah, the little tabletop planer and a sander would work just fine for these trays.
Yeah. And you ship these nationwide, USA?
Yep, ship these nationwide in all 48 states.
48. Lower 48.
Yes, lower 48. Yes, sir, we ship them off our website along with the pigments, epoxy, slabs, anything that you need.
Your website, what's your website?
My website is oldlogandsawmill.net.
So this is your sawmill. This is where you're creating all these awesome slabs on this?
Yes, this is an old school hydraulic B20 from Timber King. They have now been replaced with the Timber King 2000. But this is a fully hydraulic system. You put the log, it has a log loader that comes on. You can rotate it, level it, turn it, and then this carriage goes back and forth on this trolley system.
Yeah, like a bandsaw.
Just like a bandsaw, just like a bandsaw. So we can do about anywhere from 500 to 1,000 board feet a day on this thing.
Ooh. Right.
And so what we do is that gives us the opportunity to let our stuff air dry as long as possible.
Yeah. So this is your air dry setup, right?
Yep, this is the air dry setup. This is where we have about 30,000 board feet currently being air dried. The mill can do faster than what the kiln can dry. So the longer we get this stuff air dried, the quicker it'll be for the kiln to dry it. And then the less money it'll take to run the kiln.
Oh yeah?
And we do everything 3 inches thick. And the reason why is we do epoxy pours. When you do something 3 inches thick, you get a lot of movement. Well, we have to surface that. So we surface that down to 2 1/4 inches before we put it into an epoxy mold.
So this is your third shop, the newest of the shops.
The new and improved Old Logging Sawmill.
Technically not a shop yet.
Yeah,
It is, but it's not. You've got some pretty cool equipment. Let's go check that out.
Let's do it.
So a few weeks ago, we came and done a video on this whole setup. I'm gonna link that at the end of this video. You can go check out, but this is your third shop and this is where you have your kiln.
Yep, this is where, as a customer, you wanna come down and you wanna pick out lumber. This is where you'll come down and do the kiln. The only tool in this shop is that kiln right there. Other than that, everything else is set up and priced and ready for the customer. This is where we dry all our big slabs for our tabletops, our coffee tables, and our charcuterie boards. This is the machine that handles all that. Our 3 inch thick slabs take 3 weeks to dry. And with the slabs, it's about 2,500 board feet in this kiln because of the empty space of live edges.
That's a lot of board feet.
It's a lot of board feet, yep, that we knock out.
And you were talking about lumber they could buy. Let's look at that. So these are your slabs. These are all milled here, and you have them ready for a customer to come in and pick out a slab to make tables, coffee tables, bar tops, whatever.
Yep, at this point right here, we have milled it, dried it, and surfaced it. We surfaced it flat. Anything goes up to the wall, they've been surfaced flat on both sides. So as a woodworker, you just come in, grab whatever slab you want, and then all you have to do is sand and oil it from that point.
So you have various species you offer, walnut, elm.
We're in the heart of hardwood country. So what we have here in Arkansas is we got walnut, we got pecan, we got hickory, we have cherry, we have box elder, bodart, sycamore. And so what I'm doing now is taking all those logs that once would be firewood, because we do sustainable urban lumber, which meaning I only buy logs that are being storm damaged or taken down because of growth. All of these logs have imperfections in it that other mills wouldn't want, so therefore they would be firewood. So we're giving them a second life because of epoxy and the way that we're running things around here.
That's awesome. So nothing's going to waste.
Nothing's going
or
to waste.
minimal, extreme minimal waste. The new shop is still being built.
Yep, this is all brand new. This is all about 3 months into it right now. And right now we're building our little break room and a bathroom and stuff like that for us.
So saying that, you just started 4 years ago. You now have 3 shops.
Yes.
And you now have 3 employees or 4?
3.
3 employees. So that's how fast you're scaling, because you have a vision.
Exactly.
And you have a vision to grow a company, and investing in equipment and tools helps you expand that business. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so my business right now, I put 100% of everything I make back into the business. And then in time, we'll eventually be able to have everything that I need, and then we'll eventually be able to pay ourselves for our hard work that we put in.
That's exactly it. Mine's not to the scale, different business, but that's exactly how I've grown mine. Is to every time I made money, even starting out until now, when we make money, we take that money and reinvest it into the business to grow the business, and that's the whole goal of running the business.
And then eventually we'll end up getting paid for it.
Maybe.
Right now, maybe.
This is beautiful.
I appreciate that.
He does good work, y'all. If you want to check him out, go check out his social medias. I'll link that in the description below, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing your family and your team involved and coming over here. I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for listening to us and walking around my shop and my tour. I appreciate that very much.
I'll go check him out.